This video might be of interest to those who are studying law or are interested in the matter of law, specifically on the matter of international law. This could also be of interest to those who want to form their informed opinions on recent events, including the um, International Criminal Court and the charges against our former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte. So let's talk first about the International Criminal Court and the Rome Statute. Well, the International Criminal Court is a creation of the Rome Statute. But what is the International Criminal Court? Foremost, it is a court, and as a court, it is clothed with judicial authority. The judicial authority, universally is known, includes the power to hear and decide cases. But for the International Criminal Court, its authority is specific. It investigates and, where warranted, tries individuals charged with the gravest crimes of concern to the international community. Greatest Gravest crimes might be seen as crimes which go beyond the national borders of a specific state or territory. The crimes involved are genocide, war crimes, crimes against humanity, and the crime of aggression, which definitely crosses borders or is of interest to the international community or the community of nations. The court is influential, or it binds at 125 countries. Well, there are 195 countries as of the present, more or less. Saying more or less because some jurisdictions or some territories might consider themselves to be independent states while they are still earning their sovereignty and under the doctrine of earned sovereignty. For the practitioners of law and for political science students, you might be interested in learning about earned sovereignty. Look it up. That could help you in your studies. So 125 countries are state parties to the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court. Out of them, 33 are African states, 19 are Asia Pacific, 20 are Eastern European, and 28 are from Latin America and the Caribbean states. 25 are from Western European and other states. So it's the majority of countries of uh, of the world are signatories or members or are affected or bound by the mandate of the International Criminal Court. So, what is this Rome Statute which created the International Criminal Court? It is an international treaty that founded the court on July of 2002. It established the governing framework of the court. Well, if you look at its mandate, it um, enumerated or it laid down its jurisdiction as to what crimes or who are bound and what crimes it hears. It also sets down its composition and other matters in the exercise of its function. Because of the need for us to synchronize our laws, because we were then signatories no, in 20 of the 2002 International Criminal Court's jurisdiction under the Roman Statute, um, we created, we drafted, or we enacted, Philippine legislature enacted RA 9851, also known as an act defining and penalizing crimes against the international humanitarian law, genocide, and other crimes against humanity, to align with the provisions of the statute, of the Rome Statute, no? Thereby creating human rights and establishing domestic legal measures for addressing serious international crimes. Because even, I think, even if we withdraw from the ICC or the Rome Statute, we still have legislation that would penalize these crimes which are covered by the Rome Statute. It's more or less duplication So, well, it's some of its provisions are duplications of the definitions and the contents of the Rome Statute, because the intention then was to synchronize our legislation with the international law. So these are the salient provisions of the Rome Statute. For most, there is the concept of complementarity. Remember that international the International Criminal Court established under the statute shall be complementary to the national criminal jurisdiction of each state. No, this means that the court can take cognizance of the case if a state is unwilling or unable genuinely to carry out the investigation or prosecution of the crimes brought to it. Ano itong complementarity? Um, well, the international court can only come in um, with the preemption, not preempting, no, the jurisdiction of the domestic courts. States have the primary competence and authority to investigate and prosecute international crimes. So before it is heard in the International Criminal Court, member states have the power and authority to hear first the uh, the charges against specific individuals charged with this crimes against humanity, war crimes, genocide, etc., etc. So consistent with the expectations on the matter of complementarity, the ICC will not be a substitute for our national system, but will only be able to act where national systems do not themselves investigate or prosecute according to the ICC, or where they are unable or unwilling to do so genuinely. So hindi pwedeng pumasok ang ICC hanggat hindi pa nadidinig ng domestic court ang issue of which the individual is charged with. Exceptions is if the domestic system or our local courts or the state is unwilling or unable to do so genuinely, no, prosecuting these offenses. But what does this mean na ang isang estado are unable or unwilling to prosecute? Well, it's also in the Rome Statute. In order to determine inability of a particular case of the prosecution, no, of the case, the court shall consider whether due to total or substantial collapse or unavailability of its national judicial system, the state is unable to obtain the accused the necessary evidence and testimony or otherwise unable to carry out the proceedings. On the matter of unwillingness, um, in order to determine willingness in a particular case, the ICC shall consider, having regard to the principle of due process recognized by international law, whether one or more of the following exist. Una, the proceedings are or are being undertaken or uh, or the sorry, the proceedings were or are being undertaken or the national decision was made for the purpose of shielding the person concerned from criminal responsibility. Second, there has been an unjustified delay in the proceedings which in the circumstances is inconsistent with the intent to bring the person concerned to justice, and the proceedings were not or are not being conducted independently or impartially, meaning this matter of complementarity does not operate. Itong first recourse to our local courts does not apply if our courts are inoperative or are incompetent or unreliable. So, before a case goes to the ICC, complementarity is observed unless the courts are unwilling or unable, or the state is unwilling or unable to carry out its investigation or prosecution of such cases in court. But we have, well, personally, I believe as a lawyer that our judicial system is functioning. So is our prosecutorial system. So at this point, I might want to say that if we are members of the ICC, if we remain as members of the ICC, if we have remained members of the ICC or the Rome Statute as signatories, still we are not compelled to have a case recognized by the ICC because our courts are functioning and our prosecutorial system is as well functioning. No? So, what are the crimes which are heard of or charged that could be charged in the International Criminal Court? According to the Rome Statute, these are the crimes of genocide, which are committed with the intent to destroy in whole or in part a national, ethnical, or racial or religious group. When you speak of a genocide, it means um, the killing of members of a group, causing serious bodily or mental harm to members of the group, deliberately inflicting on a group conditions of life calculated to bring about its physical destruction in whole or in part, imposing measures intended to prevent births within the group, and forcibly transferring children of a group to another group. Okay, these are acts committed with the intent to destroy in whole or in part a national, ethnical, racial, or religious group. So ito yung genocide. On the other hand, the second crime is the crime against humanity, committed as part of the widespread or systematic attack directed against any civilian population with the knowledge of the attack. So, under this category is our former president being charged of. This includes the crime of murder, extermination, enslavement, deportation or forcible transfer of a population, imprisonment for other severe deprivation of physical liberty or violation of the fundamental rule of international law, torture, rape, sexual slavery, enforced prostitution, forced pregnancy, enforced sterilization, or any other form of sexual violence of a comparable gravity, persecution against any identifiable group or collectivity on political, racial, national, or ethnic, cultural, religious, gender, um, or other grounds that are universally recognized as impermissible under international law. Enforced disappearances, the crimes of apartheid or yung racial segregation, and other inhumane acts or similar acts intentionally causing um, such uh, harm. No? So you also have the crime of aggression. Ito yung you know um, attacking or plotting against another state with the use of force, no, and also war crimes. So when we signified our intent to be part of the Rome Statute, we therefore accept the court's jurisdiction over all crimes within its scope. There is therefore no possibility of a state party accepting jurisdiction over certain crimes and not others, or being required to consent to the exercise of jurisdiction on a case-to-case basis. What does this say? This means that jurisdiction of the International Criminal Court for all signatories is mandatory. You cannot be selective as to what crimes you can opt out to. Once you are a signatory, you are a signatory who are bound by the jurisdiction of the court. Consistent with the expectations, the ICC will not be a substitute for our national systems, but will only be able to act where our national systems do not themselves, again, to emphasize, investigate or prosecute, or where they are unable or unwilling to do so genuinely. When you talk about jurisdiction, I want to emphasize this because as a lawyer, I really believe that we have the judicial structure and prosecutorial system still intact as a sovereign state. You, however, have RA 9851 as earlier stated, no? That in the interest of justice, the relevant Philippine authorities may dispense with the investigation or prosecution of a crime punishable under this act if another court or international tribunal is already conducting the investigation or undertaking or prosecution of such crimes. Instead, authorities may surrender or extradite the suspected or accused persons in the Philippines to the appropriate international court, if any, or to another state pursuant to the applicable extradition laws and treaties. Can there be immunities that a person charged with offenses under the ICC invoke or avail of? Immunities or special procedural rules which may attach to the official capacity of a person, whether under national or international law, shall not bar the court from exercising its jurisdiction over such a person. In my perspective, even immunities from suits do not bind the ICC from hindering it in conducting investigations and adjudications. The Rome Statute guarantees the rights of suspects and victims. Well, you have the our International Covenant on the Civil and Political Rights. You have the Universal Declaration on Human Rights that guarantees the rights of suspects and victims. Well, not only that, they also guarantee the rights of those who are accused. You know? So, for the victims, on the other hand, their security and well-being as witnesses or witnesses or complainants are guaranteed by the court, including the right to due process. But the right to due process, you have to remember, is a right that is invoked under international law and our constitution for both the state or the complaining party as well as the victim. So it goes both ways. All parties have rights of which persons who are obliged to abide with must conform to. The continuation will be on the next video.